Jordan was a reluctant passer. He didn't like to pass.
No question.
And he was the first volume shooter. So the rules were very simple. Left side of the floor, send him left. Right side of the floor, send him left. In the middle, send him left.
Anyone that knows me knows that I could speak at length about basketball. And of course, the Jordan era was incredibly special. But during that era, he encountered the bad boy Pistons, my favorite team of all time. And the reason I really liked that team was because they took great pride in playing defense. But that aside, knowing the rivalry between the Pistons and the Bulls, you knew about the Jordan rules. And the first one was this.
Interpretation of the Jordan rules are this. There are 3 areas on the floor the Pistons need to be concerned about. He's sensational when he dribbles to his right. He's only great when he goes left. They will force him left as much as possible from the top of the circle area.
Currently, there's a back and forth on TikTok of a group of guys saying that they're done with the 90s, and their chief argument is that the level of play is not as free-flowing or athletic as it is now. And there's an argument for that. I wouldn't argue against that. But one of the great things about the period of the 80s and the early 90s is that the teams did not like each other. And you hear the shade that Isaiah Thomas is throwing at Michael Jordan because maybe he could go left quite well. But even today, he won't give up that bone. If you think about the predicament the bad boy Pistons found themselves in, sooner or later in the East, they would have to face the Celtics, and sooner or later in the finals, they would have to face the Lakers. And not only would they have to do both of these things most likely, they would have to find a way to subdue the up-and-coming Michael Jordan in a way where they didn't wear themselves out before they got to these guys. And thus, they needed a plan. Enter the Jordan rules.
You guys had what they called the Jordan rules.
We came up with that saying with Jordan because this is what Chuck was saying. If Michael goes to the basket, put his ass on the ground. And I put his ass, because once he up there, you got to hit him. You got to hit him. I mean, every time he went to the basket, we hit him.
Sometimes when you're faced with a daunting task, you have to reevaluate the rules under which you're going to solve the problem that you're going to face. This can be applied to 2 things in this particular video's case. 1, learning a language, in my case, learning Chinese, and 2, trying to find a way to have a functioning marriage in an environment where marriage is getting more and more difficult. And it takes me right back to the Jordan rules.
When Michael Jordan has the ball on the foul line extended or wing area, he is so good, too good at going baseline, coming back up under the basket, getting fouls on the big people, or coming back around on the other side of the rim. So instead, the Pistons will force him to come to the middle of the floor off the dribble, trying to get help from the next defender.
Of course, I'm not comparing myself to Michael Jordan, but there's a parallel in that the Pistons used a train of logic to deal with the fact that they're going to have to find a way to beat Michael Jordan in a way that was unconventional, which was basically fouling a lot. But hey, they were men and it was a men's league. But thinking of this analogy and applying it to my situation with my Chinese class, I had an epiphany in my class. And it's one of those things where you have a paradigm for how you've always done things or the way that you think things should always be done. And at a certain point, you come to a place where you have to question that paradigm if you want the result that you're looking for. In this case, what I'm looking for is to have continuous improvement while I transition away from one textbook to the next textbook. And having a complete conversation about the next textbook and the way forward, it was in this conversation that I realized that one of the old paradigms that I had, it had to go. And then I thought, if I could change the paradigm in how I choose to learn something, I could change the paradigm in how I do relationships. And it was an hour or 2 of just walking and thinking about both of these new paradigms that changed my way of viewing both of them.
You guys had something called the Jordan rule.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Push him left. That's your Jordan rule right there. That's all I'm allowed to give away.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty obvious that the Jordan rules were half and half of 2 parts. One is they're going to send him left. That was pretty obvious. The second one was, and it was probably a hidden secret at the time, was How much can we bend the rules to get away with what we can so that we can ensure that he doesn't score 55 on us and beat us, which translates to knock him on the ground. But this unwritten rule and choosing to break it speaks to the fact that the Pistons had to think outside of the box. And when I thought of this, when I was speaking to my teacher today, it all made sense. And the simple thing that I realized that I needed to do, I had to teach my teacher how to teach me.
The third area is the post-up area when he's down low. Because they like to, the Bulls, pass and cut, they will trap back from the top, double teaming with whoever is up on top. The post-up area is key to double team Michael Jordan.
Perhaps my favorite coach of all times is Chuck Daly, and I love him for the simple fact that he had to sit down in a room, and most likely he did it with my favorite player ever, Zeke, Isaiah Thomas, Isaiah Lord Thomas III, baby-faced assassin, along with Joe Dumars, the captain of the Bad Boys, and they had to devise a strategy to stop Michael Jordan. And what strategy did they come up with? It was a strategy that no one probably foresaw. One where they said, we're going to test the limits of being physical and we're going to force him left. And when I thought of my moment today, my epiphany of thinking I have to teach my teacher how to teach me, then I thought, well, what if I'm not just supposed to teach my teacher how to deal with me, but maybe I'm supposed to teach people who are in my life how to deal with me, and better yet, I'm supposed to teach my wife how to be with me. The simple idea that if a woman is going to come in my life, these are the 3 or 4 things that I absolutely need for you to do for me. It may be cooking for some guys. It may be ironing their shirts or making sure that their business clothes are up to snuff or ready to go for when you're out the door. Maybe it's not even cooking. Maybe you're on some kind of special diet and all you need her to do is go to the supermarket and get certain items so that you can make your smoothies or whatever you do. Whatever these things may be, we've been taught that in this relationship situation where we're lovey-dovey and things are supposed to happen naturally, that they're supposed to just figure it out and love will figure it out. But we understand from the way that we do love, that ain't it. When you see marriages, 1 out of 2 marriages just not make it, there's got to be a change in the paradigm. And I do believe one of the ways that you can have a more effective way of not just having better relationships in terms of romantic ones, but also in terms of the people that come into your lives. And in my situation, my language teacher is tell them how to teach you. Tell them how to be in your life. Tell them what you need for them to be in your life. In my teacher's case, she's not good at computers, so I'm going to help her with some PowerPoints, which is the way that I learn the best. And she's going to go from trying her best to teach me without guessing to me putting in her hands the proper way to teach me, which is going to make not only her a better teacher for me and me better at learning, but it's going to make her feel better about how she's doing her job. All from the simple point of me giving up the information that traditionally we've been told not to give up. Change the paradigm, better results. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.